Mark Benioff, Salesforce, on a podcast in September 2025, describing his own customer service department. Quote, "I've reduced it from 9,000 heads to about 5,000 because I need less heads." 4,000 people were the heads. That's Mark Benioff, who runs Salesforce, describing the customer service staff he cut. Months before that, he'd said AI would help his people, not replace them. He isn't unusual. He's the loud one. Through July this year, American companies announced 101,000 job cuts and named artificial intelligence as the reason. 5 months running, it's been the #1 reason given. In January, AI accounted for 7% of announced cuts. By May, close to 40%. And the man whose family firm has counted American layoffs since the Depression put it in one line: Andy Challenger. Regardless of whether individual jobs are being replaced by AI, the money for those roles is. Read that again. The jobs didn't die for a machine. They died for a budget line that had to go somewhere else. Sean K. wrote software for 20 years. 42, 150,000 a year gone. He sent roughly 800 applications and got fewer than 10 interviews. One of them was conducted by an AI. He lives in a trailer in upstate New York now, and he delivers food. So tonight, the AI-first mandate is on trial. 4 charges. By the end, a confession on tape and one number. What these companies are now paying to hire the same people back. Charge 1, and it's the whole case in one sentence. In January, 2 researchers surveyed 1,006 executives for Harvard Business Review. Their finding: the AI layoffs are happening, quote, almost completely in anticipation of AI's impact. Not because the software did the work, because it might. You can read that in the filings. Oracle cut 21,000 people, 13% of the company, and told its regulators that the adoption of AI across its operations had resulted in reductions to its workforce. Cloudflare cut 1/5 of its staff, 1,100 people, in a quarter where it booked record revenue. $639 million and 1,100 people out. Meta let 8,000 people go while budgeting up to $145 billion for AI infrastructure this year. General Motors cut 500 to 600 IT staff while it was still advertising around 80 open IT jobs. And Monday.com cut 20% of its workforce and announced it with this. The decision was not made to reduce costs or replace people with AI. They restructured for the AI era. They just didn't do it because of AI. Sure. An economist at Oxford Economics, Ben May, said what everyone in HR already suspected. We suspect some firms are trying to dress up layoffs as a good news story rather than a bad one. A layoff makes your stock fall. An AI transformation makes it rise. Same people, same door, different press release. That's the motive. The evidence is better than the motive because they wrote it down themselves. April last year, Louis Von Ahn, who built Duolingo, sends his company an email and posts it publicly. Duolingo's going AI first. Contractors doing work AI can handle get phased out. AI use becomes part of hiring and part of performance reviews. Teams only get new headcount if they can't automate more of their work. And then the line that matters. We'd rather move with urgency and take occasional small hits on quality than move slowly and miss the moment. Small hits on quality. He's talking about the product people pay for. He wrote it down, signed it, and published it. The backlash arrived in about a week. Duolingo scrubbed its social accounts. Then Von Ahn told the New York Times, "This was on me. I did not give enough context." By August, he was saying the memo had been misunderstood. And this April, he quietly dropped AI usage from performance reviews altogether. His words, "I'm not going to force you." 15 months from mandate to never mind. Now the one that went all the way. February 2024. Klarna announces its AI assistant is doing the work of 700 full-time agents. 2.3 million conversations in month 1. Resolution time down from 11 minutes to under 2. $40 million of profit improvement projected. Worth being precise because it makes the boast worse. Klarna's actual 700-person layoff happened 2 years earlier, and it was blamed on the downturn. The AI never replaced them. It was measured against their ghosts. December 2024, Sebastian Siemiatkowski tells Bloomberg the company stopped hiring because, quote, AI can already do all of the jobs that we as humans do. His own communications team walks it back as directionally true. The CEO, they explain, was simplifying for brevity. Then May 2025. Same CEO, same reporters in this, as cost unfortunately seems to have been a too predominant evaluation factor when organizing this. What you end up having is lower quality. Lower quality. He starts hiring humans back so customers can always reach one. By October, the workforce had still roughly halved, from 7,000 to 3,000, and he's warning that other tech CEOs are sugarcoating what this does to jobs. He'd know. He wrote the brochure. 2 CEOs on the record correcting themselves. Neither of them got the bill. Somebody else did. Back to Sean K. 20 years of shipping software, a 6-figure salary, and a layoff at a company building virtual offices. 800 applications, under 10 interviews. He sold what he owned on eBay, moved into a single-wide trailer, and started driving for DoorDash to eat. One of those interviews was run by an AI agent. Sit with the shape of that. The software takes the job, and then the software asks him why he wants the job back. His words to Fortune, "I feel super invisible. I feel unseen." And sometimes it's not even true. Last August, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia made 45 call center roles redundant. Its stated reason, a new voice bot had cut incoming calls by 2,000 a week. The finance sector union pulled the actual numbers. Call volumes weren't falling. They were going up. The bank admitted the error, apologized, and offered all 45 their jobs back. 5 weeks. That's how long the story held. Think about what had to happen for those 45 to be safe. Somebody had to demand the raw call data and read it. If nobody checks, 45 families lose their income to a number that was never real. That's what it cost the people inside. Charge 4 is what it cost everyone standing at the counter. Taco Bell put voice AI into more than 500 drive-thrus. Then the videos started. One prankster ordered 18,000 cups of water, and the system took it. The chain's own technology chief told the Wall Street Journal, "Sometimes it lets me down, but sometimes it really surprises me." That's the man in charge of it. McDonald's had already killed its own AI drive-thru pilot after 2 years of the same. Jake Moffat's grandmother died. He asked Air Canada's chatbot about bereavement fares, and the chatbot invented a policy that didn't exist. Book now, claim the refund later. Air Canada refused to honor it. So he took a national airline to a tribunal over about $800. In court, the airline argued that its chatbot was, quote, a separate legal entity that is responsible for its own actions. The tribunal member, Christopher Rivers, wrote back one sentence, "This is a remarkable submission. Moffat won." Now the studies, because the anecdotes have company. An MIT report last year looked at corporate generative AI pilots against $30 to $40 billion of enterprise spending, and found 95% of them produced no measurable impact on profit or loss. And a randomized trial by the research group METR took experienced developers and let them use AI tools on real tasks. They finished 19% slower. Afterwards, they estimated they'd been 20% faster. That gap, between how fast it feels and how fast it is the gap the layoffs were priced on. The defense is real, so it gets said properly. IBM automated 94% of routine HR tasks and cut a couple of hundred HR roles, and Arvind Krishna's point stands. IBM's total employment went up. Andy Jassy insists Amazon's 2026 round was money, not AI, and he may be right. And the tools are improving fast enough that the prosecution's best exhibit has an expiry date. METR ran the experiment again this February with a new cohort. The slowdown had shrunk to 4%, and the researchers' own conclusion was that AI likely does provide productivity benefits in early 2026. A study of real call center agents found AI assistants raised output about 14% overall, and 34% for the newest workers. So the defense's case is simple, and it's the strongest thing anyone said in this trial. The technology isn't the fraud. The timeline was. 3 charges stick, 1 lands for the defense. Fabio's got the verdict and the number I promised you.
Before I give it, if you think a company should have to answer for the story it tells investors about the people it just fired, that's what we do here every week. Subscribe and tell me in the comments whether your employer has tried this. Here's my verdict. Not guilty of replacing people with AI because mostly they didn't. That's the finding. Harvard Business Review asked 1,000 executives and got the answer in plain language. The firing happened in anticipation of AI's impact, not because of it. 95% of the pilots returned nothing measurable. The developers who felt 20% faster were 19% slower. So they're guilty of something worse than a bad bet on software. They fired human beings to make a story work, and the story worked. Sean Kay's in a trailer. 45 people in Australia got their jobs back because a union read a spreadsheet, and Duolingo's own CEO wrote down in advance that he'd accept small hits on quality. He got them.
Because here's the number. A survey by OrgView found 39% of business leaders had cut staff because of AI, and 55% of those now say it was the wrong decision. Recruiters at Robert Half found that 29% of companies that made AI-related cuts have already rehired into those exact same roles. And the reporting on that survey puts the returning workers' raises at 20 to 35%. Jobs that paid $55,000, reopening at $75,000 and up. They fired the labor, discovered they needed the labor, and bought it back at a markup. And this is where it reaches you. Forrester expects 55% of the executives who swapped staff for AI to regret it inside 18 months. Gartner says half the organizations that cut customer service for AI will be hiring humans back by 2027. Meanwhile, Klarna's CEO, the man who ran the whole experiment in public, described where this ends in an interview this June. Human customer service, he said, will almost be seen as a VIP thing. A person on the other end of the phone, that's the luxury tier now. Numbers as of August 2026, sources linked below, courts adjourned. Next on trial, the man who named what's happening to every app you use, and the 3-stage playbook that turns a product you love into one you can't leave.